Emperor Nath's minister Shakantar was Channi's close friend. He had become Nath's minister by his skill. Channi was being offered the job of priest in Nath's kingdom. Channi went to Shakantar. Hello, friend, what brings you here? Asked Shakantar. My son Chanakya has grown up now. I am unable to provide him further education. If you can oblige me by asking the emperor to fund his education from his royal treasury, I will be indebted to you forever for your kindness. There is nothing to feel embarrassed about. Please come to the royal court tomorrow morning along with your son. It will be managed. Next day, Channi pleaded to the emperor in his court. Hearing the Brahmin's plea, Nath said, Hey Chief Minister, earlier you presented this Brahmin before us and got him to the post of the priest. And now you want to send his son to Takshashila and get it funded in the form of scholarship from the royal treasury. Shakantar said, Yes, my lord, if you can grant me this favor. Do you think that state treasury is shrinking day by day? My lord, it always an act of benevolence to give an aid to a Brahmin, and it is said that aid given in this form to the Brahmin comes back multifold from various sources into the state treasury. This grant of scholarship will not make the treasury any poorer. All right, I do not want to oppose your advice. Please grant an aid to this Brahmin. Treasurer, listen to me carefully. As advised by Chief Minister, just arrange to give the amount to the Brahmin. Please do not bother me again and again in this matter. This aid will continue for the entire period of child's education. The entire expense will be borne by the state treasury. To Channi, the king Nath appeared to be a god himself, or Kuber, the treasurer of gods. Seated beneath the banyan tree, Chanakya was lost in his thoughts and was wondering that how incidents of the past are getting open. He started remembering as if it was yesterday's matter, when they had returned from the King Nath's court, so happy having after getting assurance of being sent to Takshashila. The next day morning, in the early hour, Chanakya gave the news to the Swavashi. She was Shankar's youngest daughter, who was 3 years younger to him. Chanakya was lost in his thoughts, and his past events were entangling him. Chanakya's pet name was Vishnugupt, and his parents used to call him Vishnu. Today, none of them were present on that day. Perhaps the name Vishnugupt was vanished off with their dispatcher, and the only one who left behind to feed for himself along in this cocked world was Chanakya. And now, who is going to tell him about this hut where he had spent his childhood? A shadow which was tracing him was seemingly stopped. Then he heard a voice asking, Who was he? What was he looking around in this house at night? You haven't answered. Who are you looking for? I am searching for my lost childhood. Do you know anything about a Brahmin named Channi who lived in one of these huts? Can you please tell me something about him? Where will be he now? Why are you asking these questions about him? Few years back, he was sent to exile from here. But why? Please don't ask this. It is very painful incident, a tragic episode. But what exactly happened? It's matter for long years ago. The king had arrested his chief minister, Shakantar. Oh, but he was one of the most trusted ministers. It's true. But when the power and the lure of the kingdom seems to be bigger than the king, himself the one trusts the kingdom more than the king. You seem to be great soul and virtuous too. May I request you to tell me in details? There is hardly anything worth telling now. The chief minister Shakantar and the commander Mayura both were the well-wishers of the citizen, and they were against the cybertric and luxurious life of the king Nath. But why are you asking all this? I am asking this because I am associated with them. I want to hear more. Please tell me. All the funds from the state treasury were being spent on Nath's luxuries. His subjects were in dire straits. The people were suffering a lot. When the king starts ignoring the interest of this subject, Then this bond to happen. When the minister opposed this, he asked his commanders to arrest him. Although the commander obeyed his king's order, but his conscience would not appear of this act. At least, out of sheer remorse, he resigned from the post. The king considered this an act of revolt and put him also behind the bars. But how did Brahmin Channi expulsion connected with this? This Brahmin was a self respecting man. When he heard that the king had put his dear friend, a trustworthy minister, Shakandar, behind the bars, and he was detained in the solitary confinement to suffer a deadly torture along with his hungry family, he couldn't tolerate it. When he saw the minister treatment of injustice being melted out to the commander, he could not control his anger. This Brahmin was very adamant. He started declaring publicly about the deeds of atrocity of King Nad, and he appeared to have lost his sense. He started shouting here and there that King Nad is a murderer. He will destroy his subjects. My dear countrymen, he may finish you all off. The victorious king must be punished. That was a death news. When King Nad heard this, first of all, he stopped the grant of scholarship and he was expelled from the town. After that, nobody saw him. The king had asked the soldiers to arrest and bring him to the court. He was consoled that his friend Shaktar was only arrested and not murdered. But the Brahmin did not know any other way of life other than religioustic and virtuistic. He started calling the king Naths vicious, wayward, and corrupt in the court. Hearing these epithets and foul words, the king took back all his grants and expelled him from the Magadha. There you can see some remains of bamboo staffs, and its straw got soaked in the rain and wind and being converted as manure. That one was the Brahman's hut. Okay, tell me one more thing. What more can I tell? Just try to understand that Nath has become a staunch enemy of Brahmin and he has converted himself as Buddhist. Now, no Brahmin can seek asylum in his kingdom anymore. I am not really worried about this. If you can tell me where is Shankathar's family now? What sort of man are you? Despite of standing here in the kingdom of Nath, don't you have any fear in your mind asking so many questions against him? Now let me tell you where all of them have been buried. Please don't get upset. I just want to know about Shaktar's daughter named Suvainsi. Can you please tell me if she is alive? Hearing this, the man told, of what is it to know about her? She went to a Buddhist monastery. She could not stay there and she became a dancer. And after saying all this, the shadow, which was doing conversation with Chanakya, vanished into the darkness, leaving Chanakya speechless, alone, and lost. I am so unfortunate that after completing my studies in Takshashila, I could never meet my mother nor father. What joy or happiness could they get from this own son? All that they could get was some souls when I was a child. They taught me how to walk hardly by holding my fingers and helped me to grow. Today, when I have come back having traveled from a long distance as a learnt man from Takshashila, they didn't know all about this. What kind of curse is this? Due to one king's bad habit, it has taken toll of not only one but three families. Is this the same Kushampur? No, I can't be same Kushampur. Do the people who have blind faith in their king have to see such unfortunate days? Why does just one instruction from him lead to a devastating demolition of their servitude? Do the people follow the king to see their devastating state? No, this has to be stopped. This cannot be tolerated anymore. But what can I do alone? How will I stop all this alone? I am not all alone. If I was to wish an era of fair administration after toppling an established king anyway, I would like to meet a king at least once. A celibate Chanakya is not going to accept defeat so early. With these thoughts and turmoil storming his head, Chanakya said to himself, what will mere thoughts lead to? unless I know what King Nag thinks. Before I take a decision, what conclusion can I draw? Bearing the gappy pit, nothing could be seen of the ramparts of Chanakya's hut. That might brought sorrowness tears in the Chanakya's eyes. Between the memories of Suvasini and his father, he seemed to have become a wall and he started visualizing another path. He realized that whatever was destroyed could not be brought back, but what is on the threshold of further demolition could be prevented. And thinking in such a manner, perhaps, Chanakya got a direction. He came back to the dormitory where he was staying and then decided to meet King Nad the next day.